It took a while for roster changes to start happening in Season 8, but once it started in earnest. Let's rewind a bit, all the way back to Phase 2, Week 3. The Olympus Bolts and the Solar Scarabs are set to face off in the first in-studio Smite match since before the pandemic started. But when it comes to day of, turns out that their solo laner can't play. Solar Troll had not gotten his second vaccine shot and thus was ineligible to come in and play in the studio that day. And that did not sit well with some members of the Scarabs.
We were looking at that LAN event as like a new leaf, I guess, for the team, or like just a refreshing, like, new start.
Right after that set, I was definitely not happy. I was really kind of just pissed, honestly, about how things went down. And when Sok gave us that the information, or like when he told us that he didn't have a second round before the matches, I kind of like mentally just was out of it from like that point on.
Lairs DM'd Brendan Baronic to tell him that basically just gave him an ultimatum and said, it's either me or Sot. If you want to play with Sot, I'm leaving. But I'm not playing with Sot again.
When we benched Sot, it was kind of a difficult decision because he's hard to replace, and we kind of didn't want to replace him. We kind of wanted him to just, mature up a little bit and become the player we know he can be, because he's just a maniac when it comes to mechanics. If you ever watch his Herc games, it's just like, I watch his stream sometimes, I'm like, yeah, maybe I could do that, but nah, he's insane. And with the whole Lairs ultimatum thing, Lairs was on the up and up with us. He was improving, maturing, and all that stuff, or at least we thought. And so we kind of went his way. And then we didn't want to kick Sot. We didn't want to just get him out of there. We kind of just wanted to bench him and then kind of calm the waters, and hopefully everyone can come back in. Let's put our game faces on and try to win some Smite games.
It was just a nightmare in my opinion, just for me personally, and I don't know how they could just shrug it off, because we are playing like one of the better teams, and the whole high-res studios, everyone's hyping the matchup for like a week straight prior to the matches. They're like, be sure to not miss this match against the Bolts, it's gonna be real good. And it was not real good, so it's definitely not ideal, and it was just unfortunate. But like I said, me personally, I couldn't do it. I don't know how they shrugged it off. I think it was just unacceptable, personally.
I was already it's kind of biased, but I was already a little bit on his side. I wanted to be fair to Sot the whole time, obviously. I think a lot of his issues were out of game stuff that he could definitely work on, but just our environment needed to change. And at the time I didn't know, or I didn't 100% realize that Lairs was kind of part of that problem of the team environment.
And then I get a text from Brendan. Brendan's like, yo, you should get on Discord, it's really important. And Brendan really never texts me on my phone. He texted my number, which I was like, oh boy, either they're kicking me or something happened to Sot, or something's bad, it's gonna happen. So I get on, and then they tell me that Zap, left to the Leviathans.
So basically we lost a lot of confidence in Julio, because all the things happened, he was having a bad attitude. Yeah, so first I messaged Nika, and I told him, yo, you wanna join the team? And he was like, I'm loyal, I wanna do this. Oh, it's okay, man. He was like, no, I hope you guys do great. And he was nice. And then we were like, okay, what do we need? Jarkor can move to solo. Are we getting an ADC? Who can come? We're like, Sapman seems like a smart guy, right? 2-time world champion,
And I get a message from Rangyu, and I see on my Discord, I don't really read my Discord messages when I'm streaming. I look over and I see it, I'm like, wait, who is that? And I don't recognize the emblem, And so I finished a rank game, and I looked over at my screen and I saw it was from Rangyu. I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, what's going on over here? He doesn't message me. And I looked over, I read it, and as I was reading it, my eyes were getting wider and wider because I kind of couldn't believe it. I was like, wait, really? They want to pick me up? And my first thought was pretty, I was in shock, and then I was like, but my team is good. I don't really I like to be loyal to my team. I don't really like to leave unless I kind of have to or I'm caked or something like that.
Oh no, because when he messaged me, I thought it was gonna be something like, yo, I got something I want to try in scrims. Yo, what if we do this? Like something like that. And then it changed to, I got a roster offer, and my heart kind of sank in the moment.
My initial reaction was like, well, of course, you know, something else piles on top of all of this mess. But I think, you know, how he handled it, I really respect too, because he got me, Slaney, and Bobby in a call, and we weren't mad at him at all if he were to take that offer. I mean, we all understood, like, there was not much we can say to, like, keep him on the team at that point, to be honest.
And I always thought the Scarabs had potential, and I love Bobby, I love Slaney, I love Barana. We get along really well. Sod as well, we hang out all the time. And so it was kind of tough. I was like, I don't really want to, you know, I don't want to leave the boys high and dry, but this is an incredible opportunity. But with all the drama going on and things like that, I'm okay with dealing with drama and problems if it's within the scope of the game, like disagreements with the team about how to play something, or like arguments like you should have done this, should have done that. I don't mind that kind of stuff. That stuff is, you know, it's in the work environment. It has nothing to do with real life stuff. But the problems that we were dealing with on the Scarabs had to do with real life things and things that I couldn't personally fix with my, you know, knowledge of Smite or something like that. And so because it was those kind of issues, that really led me to making the decision of leaving and joining the Leviathans.
I guess good for him, because we were having like really rough time on the team, but they also like kind of really focused me out personally. They kept saying that it was all my fault, which, I mean, that's Zap said when he left it was because of me, or it was because of me and Sot. And they didn't really say anything to Sot, I don't think. I think there was a little bit of I guess maybe they're just like leaning towards me more, like mostly that it was like all on me, you know, which I don't think was true. If Sot did what he was supposed to do, that would have never happened, you know, in the first place.
I know at that point, like, we were all kind of bothered with both of them. We think both of them were acting like really immature, and I think that's kind of like a big characteristic of like the story that the Solar Scarabs have so far, is a lot of immaturity. So we just kind of added them both and said, yo, Sap's leaving, we gotta find an ADC.
When it rains, it pours, and that was the case for the Solar Scarabs. They had games that weekend up against the Oni Warriors and the Valhalla Valkyries. 2 games that felt like must-wins for a team that was trying to get out of the bottom end of the league. And now, they don't even know who's playing for them that week.
Because we were not sure if Slaney, or like if Sot could play. So that was my whole mindset, was just to bring in Wolves for just a weekend, just to have, like, because we, like I said, we have the doubleheader this past weekend against 2 of the bottom teams on paper. Like the Warriors haven't been really doing too hot, and the Valks are like the worst team, right? So like, it's not like we're playing against the Bolton and like it doesn't really matter who we bring in, right? We're still gonna probably just get slapped up, but we have opportunities to win. And in my mind, I thought maybe bringing in Wolves for the weekend would better our chances with a different ADC, like either Krim or Stewart. So,
I mean, the reason I was so against it was because Lairs has essentially said he doesn't want to play with Sot anymore, and he wants a different solo. So I think if we did bring in Wolves, that is going to kill Sot's confidence. That's going to probably kill Sot's want to be in the team. It's basically giving Lairs another, I don't know, chip of power, whatever you want to call it, when we already gave him the one with when we wrongfully kicked Sot. And I mean, I think Slaney's not the greatest solo. But I don't think Wolves would have been that much of an upgrade. I have no idea how much he's been scrimming. And if we did scrim with him for those 2 scrims before this weekend, we'd be losing out on practice with Sot. Because we were still scrimming with Sot, planned on scrimming with Sot.
So we finished scrims, we played the Leviathans, and we got 4-0'd. We didn't win a single game, even though I kind of played really well on those scrims. We had like pretty decent leads. And, you know, it kind of ended up being like a little bit of a frontline diff in some of those games. So I was frustrated because we were kind of just ignoring Wolves when Wolves, you know, was right there. And if we had Wolves, we'd probably end up winning like 2 or 3 of those games. It's just scrims, but I'm saying like potentially like Wolves would be overall just better for us. And in the SPL, it's like the most competitive league, and you want to better your chances and have the best shot at winning possible. And that's my whole mindset when I play, is try to win regardless of what set it is. If it's not, whether there's regular season or like playoffs, like I still want to win. Like that's the whole mindset. And yeah, I got up, went to the kitchen, and I guess, I brought that PC home, the Alienware PC, and I guess my mute button wasn't bound because it's a new whole S rig, so my stuff wasn't bound to mute. I got up, went to the kitchen, and yeah.
And then we just started hearing him shouting in like the back, like, you know, and you can tell somebody's not talking into their mic. You can tell it's like a little bit away from the room, and they're just being very loud. First off, just blew up on all of us and just called us all names. And then he kind of turned his attention to Slaney. Made it widely known to his parents that he thought Slaney was a horrible, horrible player. And then as soon as I heard that, I left the call because that was like the straw that broke the camel's back. I did not want to play with him again.
I hear, I don't even know. It's like, I still can't believe it to this day, but
I guess Brendan was just apologizing for him the entire time because Brendan just felt so bad that it was even happening. And Slaney ended up messaging him to mute. And Lair's like doubled down, like he just went into that full self-destruct mode and just, no, I don't want to mute.
I didn't take it back. I was like, that's how I feel. I told him it was bullshit, and that's how I feel straight up. Like, if you guys want to judge me off that and kick me, then do it, but that's, you know, and I mean, it wasn't wrong. I mean, obviously it was delivered like wrong, but it wasn't, you know, there's really no lies being told.
And we ended up just talking after, and we're like, yeah, I think we just have to kick him now. Like, Slaney's not going to want to coach him. I mean, Brendan's probably embarrassed that it happened because of how much they've known each other. I was embarrassed, and I just didn't want to team with him again. So we kicked Lairs 2 minutes after everyone left the call.
that's why I say just like I'm just very disappointed, and even like how he's reacted afterwards. Like,
there was a lot of conflict between me and Slaney prior to that happening on the team throughout the year. You can ask any boys on the team. We would definitely clash a lot over Discord, whether it's him pressuring me to move down quicker, or like I didn't do something right in scrims, or you know, anything really. One thing I could do different is probably not get Slaney as a coach, and that's, you know, about it. True, really, yeah.
I mean, at that point we only had two because we had Sot benched. Right. It was literally me and Brendan on the starting roster. So we ended up going with Stu for this last weekend because just we know he is an ADC player and he has those just innate thinking thoughts in the back of his head of how to play ADC. We're kind of wanting some of that SPL experience. It's another reason why we're looking at Scream. Obviously, everyone knows Scream's SPL experience. Great theory crafter too, and I think this meta fits him actually really, really well because him and Sina are two of those guys that just love that hybrid build, run it down, fight, perma style.
If I envision Lairs getting another shot at the league, I think it depends on him. If he shows a little bit more maturity, or maybe even throwing out an apology about that, he might still think he's right, but he didn't do himself any favors with that twit longer. It doesn't matter if you are 100% correct in that situation. There's lines you do not cross.
He's been a friend and teammate for years for everything to kind of settle the way it has, and the direction he's taken, I don't really agree with at all. So, yeah.
And that looked like it was going to be it. Pretty simple, right? I mean, Zapman just goes to the Atlantis Leviathans. The Scarabs pick up Stewart and Scream, keep SOT on the roster. Seemed like we were all done with. Until we weren't. The Tartarus Titans decide that they need to make a change, and it's going to be in the jungle. They remove Scary D from his position and begin to look for some new junglers. Now, if only there was someone who had just been released from his team.
I was talking to Hindu Man about this earlier as well, as like, I feel like we could have helped him more, and I feel like it's partially like my fault. A lot of it's my fault. I don't know. Roster changes suck, and we just weren't playing as well as I feel like we could as a team, and we just thought it would be easier if we could get somebody who's more familiar with the jungle or more comfortable playing in the jungle.
We kind of just were making the exact same mistakes from the beginning of the season, and it did not seem like we were improving at all. And yeah, the scrims are just going pretty bad. Like, we just make the same mistakes. Everyone's really demoralized, and it's starting to get to like where everybody wanted to like stop playing. So and then once we lost to the Warriors, we got 2-0'd by them. It was just like everybody knew we had to make a change. I think Max, Aurora, I should say, and Cyclone said that they could potentially get Sino. And so what happened is we basically just like trying out a bunch of junglers to see who fit in the best with our team.
I thought I made a strong case that I could play on that team. Well, they gave Sino some time this past weekend, like basically the same amount of time that I had with them, and we were more successful with me than we were with Sino. Because Sino lost that set against the Leviathans when he was on that team, and we didn't lose. We were like we were almost undefeated in scrims too. We lost like a couple games, but that's about it. But we were playing really, really well like leading into that weekend. So I wasn't really surprised when we beat the Bolts, but when we beat them, I was like in my mind, I was like, we have a really good chance to like play again on this team. So
I don't know. We just played better with layers. Like we had a team talking about it the other night, and me and Benji both were just saying like we felt like layers like was we fit in like way more naturally. Like I don't know, with Sino wasn't the same. Like I didn't have the same synergy with like when I was playing with layers in scrims. When I say this, we literally went 10-0 like the second we got layers in scrims. Like we were actually just squashing everyone.
I think my mentality was like, even on the Scarabs, like prior to that like blow up, my mentality was like probably the strongest on the team. Aside from that one little incident where, I mean, obviously I got really upset, but it kind of like a lot of that was like a lot of build up leading into that happening, and I think my mentality is fresh, and I'm just gonna do what I can to play and do well for the Titans. So,
With 1 week to go before playoffs, finally, teams were set. The Leviathans drop Julio, pick up Zapman. The Scarabs lose Layers and Zap, keep Solar Troll, pick up Stewart and Scream. And the Tartarus Titans end up with Layers, losing Scary D in the jungle. Now hopefully, at least for the short time, this should be it for roster changes, as long as everyone remembers to keep their mute key bound.